Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of my blog series. I'm Jairo Horak, and today I'm going to be finishing off. I only have one more video after this one to finish off my round 2 of Cooking Through the Ages with Jaira, where it is that I get a movie or a TV show from its year and do an inspired recipe by it. So today I'm inspired by the movie Teen Wolf, starring Michael J. Fox, a 1985 movie, and also we're inspired by Full House from the 80s, 90s. So, before we start off, I just want to let you guys know that I'm so excited because tomorrow, Monday, I am going to be premiering season 3 of Jaira's Kitchen. So, this is going to be basically this, and the next video that I'm going to be uploading after this one is going to be technically the finale of season 2 and of my round 2 of my new segment, Cooking Through the Ages with Jaira. So, make sure to tune in tomorrow to see my season 3. So, first, like I said, we're going to be talking about Teen Wolf, starring Michael J. Fox. You guys might know him best from Back to the Future and Family Ties. The movie has to do with a teenager who he's living in, in the world, and he's, growing up in high school, and, he wants, he doesn't want to be ordinary. He wants change in his life. But then suddenly, one day, he finds out that he is a werewolf. And he was kind of shocked. I mean, he was shocked. He was surprised about, that, because he was like, Dad, wow, like, I'm a wolf. Like, am I going to go, like, crazy at 12 midnight? And he was like, come on, like, not everything they say in the movies is true. But his dad wanted, he thought his dad didn't want to tell him because he thought that it was going to skip him by, but obviously it didn't. But his name is Scott in the movie. His character's name is Scott. And Scott, he's a basketball player in high school, so he goes through a lot of changes. And he doesn't want to become the wolf in front of anybody until, he finally, he wolfs up in front of his friend. Like, he doesn't, his friend doesn't tell anybody. But then he wolfs up in front of the entire school in a basketball game. And then he becomes very popular and famous, even going with the most popular girl in school. But he had his best friend, Booth, which he knew since, they were kids. And Booth had a crush on him, and, she was in love with him, but he didn't know that. And so the point is that, he was going through a lot of changes. He was popular, he was happy. But then, he kind of started noticing that everybody who was around him wasn't around him for him. You know what I mean? They were around him because he was so popular, because he's the wolf man. You know what I mean? And he was like, I love being the wolf man, but I want people to love me for me. And, so in the final, part of the movie, he decides to play the basketball game because they kept on winning. Every time he would become the wolf, they would win the basketball games. But when he decided to be himself, in the final part of the movie, they won, and that's where you see that Booth and him finally get together, and it's a beautiful movie. So in 1987, I believe it is, so after this movie, there was a sequel movie, which is Teen Wolf 2, and it has to do with Scott's cousin, who he's going into college, and he goes through the same process as Scott. He becomes a teen wolf. So he goes through that process, but instead of basketball, it's wrestling, boxing, I believe it is, and so a lot of same experiences, a lot of different experiences. So I think it's pretty awesome, this movie. I mean, considering the fact that there is also a show called Teen Wolf, inspired by the movie Teen Wolf in 1985. It became top #2 after Back to the Future. And actually, Teen Wolf was filmed before Back to the Future, but was premiered after Back to the Future, and it became top #2. So that's pretty amazing. And talking now about Full House, we can't wait till February because Fuller House, the sequel of Full House, is coming out on Netflix. You guys better not miss it. And the show Full House is an 80s, 90s show. It has to do with three guys, Danny Tanner, the dad, Joey, which is the best friend, and Jesse, which is the brother-in-law, technically, of Danny, because, Danny's wife, Jesse's sister, passed away, and she died, and so they were left with three girls, DJ, Stephanie, and Michelle. And so we all know there's Candace Cameron Bure, Jodie Sweetin, the Olsen twins, Bob Saget, Dave Coulier, John Stamos, Lori Loughlin, and so many other guest stars. Andrea Barber, who plays Kimmy Gibbler. And so Becky is Lori Loughlin, which is Jesse's girlfriend, and Kimmy Gibbler is DJ's best friend. And so the point is that it's a family show. They become a family. They're showing how they raise these three girls together. And we have Steve, which is DJ's, technically boyfriend. We have Steve, which is DJ's technical boyfriend, but then they end up breaking up or whatever. But that's why Fuller House is coming, the sequel, after all of these years. And it has to do with a bit of a twist. Like, now it's going to be three girls raising three boys. And it's going to be DJ's three sons. Her husband dies. And so her sister Stephanie and her best friend Kimmy come in to help her raise her three boys. And Steve is coming back. So Scott Wanger, Steve, he is coming back. Let's see what happens. I don't know exactly what happens, but I know that Kimmy has a daughter, and I know it's going to be a very family show as well. So we have Full House, a family show. Fuller House, the sequel, coming up. Teen Wolf. I mean, we are totally inspired by these, movie and show. And so I'm excited to present to you guys this recipe. It's going to be fried apples. And so this recipe, all you're going to need is apples, brown sugar, cinnamon, and butter. And if you can, maybe have oil just in case you don't have butter. But I prefer and recommend butter. And so that's all you're going to need. I used 2 whole red apples. And you could buy the sliced ones. But at the moment, I only had the 2 whole big apples. And so I just peeled off the skin. And just cut them off. And we'll show you what you're going to need in a few minutes. But you might say, what does fried apples have to do with Teen Wolf and Full House? Okay, I was searching on Google, and I was researching, and I was like, what do wolves like to eat? Technically, he's a teen wolf, okay? So what does wolves like to eat? And they said that they like to eat berries, peaches, and apples. They like to eat a lot of meat, but, not really much of a meat person, so I wanted to go with something healthy. So we're going with apples. So why not fried apples, something that wolves can eat, something that I'm pretty sure if, the family was making a dinner, they would eat in Full House. So we're doing fried amazing apples. And like I said, tune in tomorrow, Monday, Season 3, Jaira's Kitchen. Do not miss it. February the 1st, premiere. So thank you guys for watching. I love you guys so much. And thank you guys for watching.